If you enter a new year with the same habits, don't expect a new life. Calendars change, lives don't, unless you do. Many of you are standing at the edge of 2026 with hope in your eyes and tiredness in your heart. You've worked hard, you've prayed silently, you've told yourself next year will be different, but deep inside there is a fear. What if nothing changes again? Let me tell you this gently, like a friend sitting beside you. Your future is not blocked by bad luck. It is delayed by unexamined habits. And today is not about judgment. Today is about awareness. Because awareness is the beginning of transformation. Let us begin with the first truth. Because everything else stands on this foundation. Most people believe that life changes when goals change. They say, this year I want more success, this year I want peace, this year I want discipline. But very few people pause and ask a deeper question. What am I doing every single day that is taking me closer or further away from that life? You see, goals live in the future, habits live in the present, and the future is always built quietly in the present. I once met a young man who told me with great confidence, I want to be extraordinary. I smiled and asked him, tell me about your ordinary day. He laughed. Then he realized something important. His dream was big, but his daily life was small. This is where most lives get stuck. We dream at a level our habits cannot support. A goal is like deciding to reach the top of a mountain. A habit is how you walk every step of the climb. You don't suddenly appear at the peak because you wished for it. You arrive there because of thousands of small, sometimes boring, repeated steps. Your life today is not an accident. It is the result of what you repeatedly chose yesterday. The food you eat, the thoughts you entertain, the people you listen to, the way you start your morning, the way you end your night. These quiet patterns are shaping your future far more than any motivational quote ever will. Many people say, I don't know why my life isn't changing. But when you look closely, nothing in their routine has changed either. Same late nights, same distractions, same excuses, same comfort zone. And then they expect a different result. There is a very simple spiritual truth here. God gives growth to effort, not to intention. You may intend to wake up early, but your habit of sleeping late votes against that intention. You may intend to become wise, but your habit of consuming shallow content weakens that desire. You may intend to be peaceful, but your habit of reacting to everything steals your calm. Habits are powerful because they don't ask for permission, they quietly decide for you. That is why habits can either become your strongest allies or your most silent enemies. And here is the beautiful part, habits don't change overnight, but they do change with awareness. You don't need to change your entire life today. You only need to notice one habit that is pulling you backward. Just one. Because small habits compound, just like small interest grows into big wealth, small disciplines grow into a strong character. If you read 10 pages a day, you may feel it's nothing, but in a year, you will be a different person. If you pray or sit in silence for 10 minutes a day, you may feel no miracle. But slowly, your reactions soften, your clarity sharpens, your heart becomes lighter. People underestimate small things because they want dramatic change. But life rewards consistency, not drama. You don't rise suddenly to a great life. You slowly fall or rise to the level of your habits. That is why before you set new goals for 2026, look honestly at your daily routine. Ask yourself, if my habits stay exactly the same, where will my life be 1 year from now? The answer will be very honest and maybe uncomfortable. But discomfort is not your enemy, it is your teacher. When you change your habits, you are not just changing what you do. You are changing who you are becoming. And once who you are becoming changes, your life has no choice but to follow. This is the first step. Everything else comes after. Most people are waiting to feel inspired, waiting to feel confident, waiting for the right mood, waiting for life to feel easier. And while they wait, time moves on. We have been taught to believe that motivation comes first and action follows. But real life teaches the opposite lesson. Action comes first, motivation follows later. Think about it honestly. How many times have you said, "I'll start when I feel motivated," and how many times did that motivation actually arrive? Motivation is emotional, and emotions are unpredictable. Some mornings you wake up hopeful. Some mornings you wake up tired. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel empty. If your growth depends on your mood, your progress will always be unstable. Discipline, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, it simply shows up. A disciplined person does not ask, "How do I feel today?" They ask, "What needs to be done today?" There is a deep spiritual wisdom here. Your mind wants comfort. Your soul wants growth. Discipline is how the soul gently leads the mind. I once heard someone say, "I don't feel like praying today." I smiled and said, "That is exactly why you should pray today." Because discipline is not about force, it is about alignment. When you act first, even without motivation, something strange and beautiful happens. Clarity appears after effort. You don't feel confident and then take action. You take action and confidence grows quietly behind it. You don't feel peaceful and then sit in silence. You sit in silence and peace slowly arrives. Most people are waiting for a feeling that only comes after discipline. That is why so many dreams remain untouched, not because people are incapable, but because they are waiting to feel ready. Let me tell you something important. You will never feel fully ready. Readiness is a myth the mind creates to avoid discomfort. Every meaningful change feels uncomfortable in the beginning. Waking up earlier feels uncomfortable. Studying when friends are relaxing feels uncomfortable. Choosing restraint when ego wants expression feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is not danger. It is growth in disguise. Discipline is choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. The problem today is not lack of opportunity. It is lack of structure. When life has no structure, emotions take control. And emotions are very convincing liars. They say, "Just today rest, just today skip it, just today scroll a little longer, and just today slowly becomes your lifestyle." Discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect. When you respect your future, you stop negotiating with your present laziness. Start small, very small. Don't promise 1 hour of meditation, promise 5 minutes. Don't promise a complete transformation, promise consistency. A disciplined 5 minutes every day will change your life more than a motivated 1 hour once a week. Remember this, discipline creates freedom. When you are disciplined with your time, you gain time. When you are disciplined with your words, you gain respect. When you are disciplined with your habits, you gain peace. People think discipline takes away joy. In reality, it removes chaos, and chaos is what exhausts the soul. So as you walk into 2026, don't ask yourself, "How can I stay motivated all year?" Ask a better question. What can I make non-negotiable in my life? Because when discipline leads, motivation will follow quietly, like a shadow that never leaves. Let us go deeper, because this next truth is silently shaping an entire generation. We have more information than ever before, yet less clarity than ever before. Why? Because the mind is constantly occupied, but the heart is rarely present. From the moment we wake up, something is pulling us. Notifications, messages, news, opinions, comparisons. And without realizing it, we spend our best energy reacting, not creating. Distraction has become normal, but normal does not mean healthy. When the mind is scattered, life feels scattered. When attention is divided, progress becomes slow. I often say this gently. If you don't decide where your attention goes, the world will decide for you. And the world is not interested in your growth, it is interested in your time. Many people say, I don't have time, but the truth is they lost their time. One scroll at a time, one unnecessary reaction at a time. Attention is sacred, it is life energy. Where you place your attention every day is where your life is quietly moving. Think about it. If your attention is constantly on other people's lives, how will you build your own? If your mind is always consuming noise, how will it ever hear wisdom? Silence feels uncomfortable at first because silence forces you to meet yourself. That is why we avoid it. But silence is not emptiness, it is space, and space is where clarity is born. A distracted life cannot be a purposeful life. When you give fragmented attention, you get fragmented results. The mind becomes tired not because it works too hard, but because it works without direction. You check your phone without intention. You watch content without awareness. You react without reflection. And slowly, you forget what truly matters. The practice of presence is a habit. Just like distraction is a habit. You don't suddenly become focused. You train focus gently. By putting the phone away during conversations, by eating without a screen, by praying, reading, or thinking without interruption. These small acts, presence, heal something deep inside. When attention becomes steady, decisions become wiser. When decisions become wiser, life becomes lighter. This is also deeply spiritual. When the mind is always elsewhere, gratitude cannot settle, faith cannot deepen, peace cannot stay, a restless mind cannot hold God. That is why ancient wisdom always emphasized stillness. Not because the world is wrong, but because the mind needs anchoring. You don't need to reject technology, you need to use it consciously. Technology should serve your life, not consume it. Set boundaries. Decide when you will be available, decide when you will be silent. Silence is not wasting time, silence is protecting your soul. The greatest achievements in history were born from focused minds, not distracted ones. And the greatest peace in life also comes the same way. So before 2026 asks more from you, ask yourself something honest. What has my attention been feeding? Because your attention is feeding your future. Protect it, honor it, train it, and slowly clarity will return, direction will return, and life will stop feeling so overwhelming. Now comes a truth that is uncomfortable but deeply liberating. At some point in life, every human being gets hurt. Things don't go as planned. People disappoint us. Opportunities slip away. Circumstances feel unfair. And in those moments, something very subtle happens inside us. We begin to explain our pain. And slowly, explanation turns into justification. Justification turns into blame. And blame turns into identity. I am like this because of my past. I didn't get that because of them. I would have grown if life was kinder. These sentences sound logical. They even sound true, but they quietly lock the door to growth. There is a difference between acknowledging pain and building a home inside it. Acknowledging pain is healing. Living as a victim is limiting. When you see yourself only as someone who was wronged, you unknowingly hand over your power to the very thing that hurt you. Victimhood feels safe because it removes responsibility, but it also removes possibility. As long as life is happening to you, you will wait for life to change. The moment life starts happening through you, everything shifts. Responsibility is often misunderstood. People think it means blaming yourself. No. Responsibility means recognizing your ability to respond. You may not control what happened, but you always control what happens next. Two people can go through the same struggle. One becomes bitter, the other becomes wiser. The difference is not circumstances, it is ownership. There is something incredibly empowering about saying, "This is my life, and I choose how I grow from here." The mind resists responsibility because it demands effort. The ego resists it because it removes excuses. But the soul loves responsibility because responsibility restores dignity. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for validation. You stop waiting for rescue. You become present, and presence is powerful. I have seen people with very little support build extraordinary inner strength simply because they refused to remain stuck in blame. They didn't deny their pain, they honored it, and then they moved forward. Blame keeps you stuck in yesterday. Responsibility brings you into today. Blame asks, "Why did this happen to me?" Responsibility asks, "What is this teaching me?" That single shift changes everything. You stop arguing with reality, you start working with it, and when you work with reality, progress becomes possible. This does not mean being harsh with yourself, it means being honest. Honesty is kindness in the long run. It is easy to complain about darkness. It is harder, but meaningful, to light a lamp. The moment you stop saying, "They ruined my life," and start saying, "I will rebuild my life," your inner posture changes, your shoulders straighten, your voice gains strength, your eyes carry purpose. Responsibility does not guarantee success, but it guarantees growth, and growth always leads to a better life. Even if the journey is slow, you don't need to control the whole future. You only need to take responsibility for today, for your effort, for your choices, for your reactions. That is where power lives. So as you step forward, ask yourself gently, where have I been giving away my power by blaming? And where can I reclaim it by choosing responsibility? The moment you answer honestly, you will feel something return to you. Not confidence, not motivation, something deeper, self-respect, and from self-respect, a new life begins. Many people think their main problem is lack of opportunity. But often, the real issue is a habit of dissatisfaction. The mind becomes so trained to notice what is missing that it forgets to see what is meaningful. Complaining feels natural. It feels justified. Sometimes it even feels bonding. But over time, it quietly reshapes your inner world. A complaining mind becomes heavy, not because life is heavy, but because the lens has become dark. Gratitude is not pretending that everything is perfect. Gratitude is recognizing that even imperfect life is still a gift. When you complain repeatedly, your mind learns to scan for problems automatically. And when the mind is busy scanning for problems, peace never finds a place to sit. I once met someone who said, "I'll be grateful once my life improves." But life doesn't work that way. Life improves when gratitude arrives first. Gratitude changes the quality of your experience, not necessarily the situation. Two people can live the same life. One feels rich, the other feels deprived. The differ. NCE is not what they have, it is what they appreciate. Gratitude is a discipline. Just like complaining is a habit, you don't wake up grateful by accident. You train gratitude by intention, by noticing what is working, by acknowledging people who support you, by thanking life even when answers are delayed. This doesn't make you weak, it makes you grounded. A grateful person is not passive, they are peaceful while working for better. Complaining drains energy, gratitude multiplies it. When you are grateful, effort feels lighter. When you complain, even small tasks feel heavy. Gratitude also keeps the ego in check. The ego says, "I deserve more." Gratitude says, "I appreciate what I have been trusted with." That shift protects you from entitlement and bitterness. Spiritually, gratitude is humility in action. It is acknowledging that life is not owed to us. It is received. And when something is received, we handle it with care. People who are deeply grateful tend to be calmer, not because their life is easier, but because the heart is less demanding. Gratitude does not deny ambition, it purifies it. You still work hard, you still dream big, but you stop being angry at the present moment. And that inner peace allows better decisions. When gratitude becomes your default response, stress loses its grip. You stop rushing, you stop comparing, you stop resenting. Instead, you start noticing the warmth of a conversation, the quiet support of someone who believes in you, the strength you didn't know you had. Gratitude reconnects you with meaning, and meaning is what sustains you when motivation fades. As 2026 approaches, ask yourself honestly, what has complaining given me so far? Now ask a deeper question. What might gratitude give me if I practiced it daily? You don't need to be grateful for everything, but you can be grateful in everything, and that small shift will soften your heart, sharpen your focus, and lighten your journey. Because a grateful heart does not attract everything it wants, but it always attracts peace, and peace is the soil where growth happens naturally. Now let us speak about one of the most exhausting habits of modern life, living for approval. From a very young age, many of us were trained to seek validation. Good grades brought praise, good behavior brought acceptance, achievement brought attention. Slowly, without realizing it, we learned an equation. If people approve of me, I am valuable, and that belief follows us into adulthood. We choose careers to impress, we post to be noticed, we speak to be liked, we stay silent to avoid disapproval, and somewhere in this performance, we lose touch with who we truly are. Living for approval is tiring because the audience keeps changing. What pleases one person disappoints another. What earns applause today invites criticism tomorrow. When your worth depends on opinion, your peace becomes fragile. Character, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself over time. Character is who you are when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when no one is validating. Approval-focused living asks, how do I look? Character-focused living asks, what is right? That difference changes everything. When you chase approval, you compromise slowly, a little honesty here, a little integrity there, a little silence where truth was needed. Not because you are bad, but because you are afraid of rejection. But rejection is not the opposite of success. Loss of self-respect is, there is a deep peace that comes when your actions align with your values. You may lose applause, but you gain inner stability. And inner stability is rare and priceless. People with strong character sleep better. Not because life is easier, but because their conscience is light. Our character protects you from shortcuts. Approval tempts you toward them. Approval says, do what works. Character says, do what is right, even if it's slower. The world often celebrates results, but life always honors principles. When success arrives without character, it creates fear, fear of exposure, fear of loss, fear of not being enough. But when character comes first, success becomes a tool, not a burden. You don't need to impress everyone. You only need to respect yourself. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time I said yes, even though my heart wanted to say no? When was the last time I stayed quiet because I feared being judged? These moments seem small, but they shape your inner world. Every time you choose truth over approval, you grow stronger inside. You don't become rude, you become clear. You don't become arrogant, you become grounded. And clarity earns a deeper respect than approval ever could. Spiritually, character is devotion in action. It is choosing integrity, even when temptation whispers louder. It is remembering that your life is watched, not only by people, but by your own conscience. As you move toward 2026, ask yourself a gentle question. Am I building a life that looks good or a life that feels right? Because applause fades, Titles fade, recognition fades, but character stays. And when life tests you, and it will, character is what will hold you steady. Now we arrive at the last truth, the one that gives meaning to all the others. You can be disciplined, you can be focused, you can be responsible, grateful, and strong in character. But if your life is only about you, something will still feel incomplete. Because the human heart was not designed to live in isolation. A self-centered life may become successful, but it rarely becomes fulfilling. True joy appears when life moves beyond what do I want and begins to ask, how can I be useful? Service is not about losing yourself. It is about finding yourself in something greater. When your life is only about personal gain, pressure increases, fear increases, comparison increases. But when your life becomes a contribution, something softens inside. Your struggles gain meaning. Your efforts feel lighter. Your success feels shared. Service does not require a stage. It requires intention. You serve when you listen patiently. You serve when you show up honestly. You serve when you do your work with excellence. Even when no one is watching, service shifts the focus from how am I doing to who am I helping, and that shift is healing. Many people feel empty not because they lack success, but because their success is disconnected from purpose. Purpose is what allows you to endure difficulty without becoming bitter. When you know your life is useful, pain does not feel meaningless. Spiritually, service is surrender. It is trusting that life is not only about personal comfort, but about becoming a channel for something higher. The moment you serve something bigger than your ego loosens its grip. You stop obsessing over outcomes. You stop measuring your worth daily. You stop feeling threatened by others' progress because your life is no longer a competition. It becomes a contribution. Service also keeps success safe. Without service, success can inflate the ego. With service, success deepens humility. And humility keeps you grounded when things go well and hopeful when they don't. As you step into 2026, don't just ask, what do I want to achieve? Ask a deeper question. Who will be better because I lived this year well? When you live with that awareness, every habit gains direction, every effort gains meaning, every challenge gains purpose. And finally, remember this. Life does not change because the year changes. Life changes because the heart changes. When discipline guides you, focus protects you, responsibility empowers you, gratitude softens you, character grounds you, and service lifts you, life begins to respond not instantly, not dramatically, but faithfully. And one day you will look back and realize, 2026 did not change your life. You changed yourself, and that made all the difference. Then let us seal this journey with a final reflection, not as a lesson, but as a quiet promise to yourself. Pause for a moment, breathe, and look honestly at where you are, not with judgment, with compassion. You are not behind. You are becoming. Every habit we spoke about is not meant to burden you. It is meant to free you. Life is not asking you to be perfect in 2026. Life is only asking you to be intentional. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You need daily alignment. Alignment between what you believe and how you live, between what you pray for and what you practice, between the life you admire and the habits you choose. Remember, change does not announce itself loudly. It arrives quietly. It arrives the day you wake up and choose discipline over delay, the day you put the phone down and listen to your inner voice, the day you stop blaming and start building, the day gratitude replaces complaint, the day integrity matters more than applause, the day your success begins to serve others. That is the day life starts to shift, not because the world changed, but because you did. And please remember this gently. Growth is not linear. Some days you will rise, some days you will fall. Falling does not mean failure, it means you are still in the process. What matters is that you return to discipline, to awareness, to purpose again and again. Faith is not about having no doubts, faith is about moving forward despite them. Your habits are your daily prayers. They reveal what you truly believe about your future. So choose wisely, choose patiently, choose courageously. Because 1 year from now, you won't remember most days, but you will live with the results of what you repeated. Let 2026 not be remembered as another year you hoped, let it be remembered as the year you showed up quietly, consistently, faithfully, and when life tests you, as it always does, stand firm in this truth. You are not here to impress the world. You are here to grow, to serve, and to become whole. When habits align with values, life aligns with purpose, and that is real change. Before you step forward, remember this one truth. God does not ask you to control the future. He only asks you to be sincere in the present. You don't grow by worrying about where life will take you. You grow by walking honestly where you are. Do the right thing today with a pure heart, with disciplined effort, with gratitude instead of complaint, with service instead of ego. Leave the results to God, because when your intentions are clean and your habits are aligned with truth, life may test you, but it will never betray you. Success will come when it is needed. Strength will come when it is required. Guidance will come when you are humble enough to listen. So don't chase the year. Don't chase outcomes. Don't chase approval. Chase growth. Chase integrity. Chase purpose. And trust this. When you walk the right path sincerely, even slow steps become sacred. Life doesn't reward speed. It honors sincerity. And a sincere life, lived with faith and discipline, never goes unnoticed, not by the world and never by God.